Hi guys. Hello. 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 I'm Celeste. I wanted to talk to you guys about how I think about like career planning stuff and like ideas I had or like ideas I would have had, and like what I would have used my ideas for. Like, had I, my nose is like totally like running or something. You can't see it, but like that's how it feels. Yeah, I want to talk about like career planning stuff and like the way that I would see it if my path were a little bit different, but also ideas that I had even kind of like a couple months back, and like what I would have done if I like had, I guess, connections, or if I had been like discovered at a certain point. Anyway, should I like blow my nose on a leaf or something? Like, why is it running now? Like, that's so crazy. Okay, I might do that. Just to have it not be like, you know, snot like down my face. But maybe it's not gonna do that. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, haha, not being perfect and being a person is totally a thing, you know, totally a thing. So I have my little whiteboard marker, dirty, dry erase marker. Look at that. What? It's giving makes things unclean, like all those particles just everywhere. Yeah, it's more of a to make things possibly dirtier erase marker at this point in time. There's not a lot of like fixing things that really happens with it, you know, when those get sort of used. My nose is like literally, like I said, that's crazy. That's crazy. It's not crazy. Anyway, yeah. So I had like, there were times when I would have ideas that were kind of like unusable for me, but I was like, oh, like I know anyone could be like, oh, if only I had like a Netflix show or something, but like I had an idea, like a concept for it. Once I already had like 40 albums I was working on and stuff, like at that point in time, I had an idea for like a Netflix show and stuff, and I was like, oh, like I already know what I would call it. I already know like what it would be about. I already know like what every episode would be about. Like I just like came up with that, like using my brain, you know? But I was like, oh, like I'm not, like I don't have like connections, but wouldn't that be like such a cool way to like have my work like introduced, you know what I mean? So I sort of came up with this model for like a reality show about yourself that I don't get to use because I don't have like connections like that, but somebody out there could totally use the idea. But guess what? You'd have to use a different title because I wanted it to be like becoming and then your name, like full like artist name or like first and last name. So I wanted to do like becoming Celeste Winter, but like the way I wanted to do it, not like Cat's Eye where there's like a competition, but I kind of wanted to use the other elements where it's like you're like training for something. Basically, if you do it, it would be like the most like conceited looking like reality show of all time, but that's like how you would be introduced to like the people and the planet. Because guess what? It would kind of work. Well, because I already had like 40 albums I was working on, there would be like material, not to go like song by song, but like, you know, like doing like live performances and stuff. Basically, I know it sounds like a boring idea, but I wanted to like dress it up to the point where the point is, like, if it seems unwatchable and boring, you just make it more about you and more conceited, because then at some point in time people won't be able to like click off of it. Basically, like oh, this part is like boring, then add some crazy stuff in there. Like, just don't have a boring moment in it, but like I was like, oh, I could do like a fake getting discovered moment and then make people think it's real, because that's what everybody does. Even though it would be like obviously from the internet if I ever like blew up and stuff. But like I wouldn't even delete the videos. I would just be like, oh, like that's funny how both happened. Like you could literally go, you could be like, oh, I'm gonna like do a performance, but it's like your like first performance ever, but you say you've done other ones, so it's like, isn't that funny? Basically, yeah, you kind of it would be very like about you. Like, you'd be finding out like your like style for clothes. You'd be the songs, I already have songs created, doing like new photos for cover art for everything, but again, making it like very like, you know, when they're like, oh, we just discovered this person and like that's who everybody's watching, like frame it like that. Because people watch those kinds of shows and then make them believe it. But like, you know, I thought it would be fun. Yeah. Well, but also I would want to have like finding a manager be like on the show, like signing a record deal after my fake discovery being in the show, you know? And then even if people know it's not true, but like not everyone's gonna know it's not true, so it's like funny. It's more like an acting, like it's not like at that point in time you have to know, like when people do reality shows, like somebody like writes a script of it, it's not gonna, it wouldn't be like awkward when you get there. Like you would kind of pitch the idea, Netflix would write out the whole script, you would just be making sure that it's actually like formed around you and not like weird to have your name attached to it. That's what you would be doing. So it really would be like an acting role. Like they would just be deciding like facts about you, basically, that you just like pretend are true. My nose is like running now. But yeah, so you just, you know, make up like facts about you that then you like pretend are true to make people watch it, because that's what everybody does. So that's kind of, you know. And then I would talk about like marketing and stuff on the show and different angles for that, and then I would try to have people like talk me out of stuff, and then I would be like, no, I do want to do it this way. But then there would be times when I like don't know what I want to do, and I would just have somebody tell me what to do. That way people have something to like talk about, you know, in like the comments and stuff. They could be like, oh, like, you know, it's good to be like, you know, strong-willed and like know what you want, or wow, I'm glad you got help with this thing you didn't know about, but then I'm like faking not knowing what I want to do for it. But then the part that I do know what I want to do is like just scripted. It would be like that. That's what people do, and it's just for fun, and that's sort of, I think people who are really stupid sort of watch reality shows and they're like, wow, they always have something going on in their life, but everything is just scripted. They all sat down together and they're like, okay, what do the writers think we should have happen in this episode? And that's like normal. So I wouldn't be like afraid to use that and just say it's true, because people aren't really supposed to like fully believe that so much that they would be like heartbroken over it. And everybody does it and gets away with it. So I would be using that, because you can't really afford to not use whatever you have access to. So I was like, if I could do that, it'd be cool. While there, I mean, then if I were able to do it, I would have like a personal relationship with like with Netflix, and I was gonna say I would want to like pitch doing like my own like anime or something. Even though I'm not obsessed with it more than other people are. Like there's totally people who would be more deserving of the opportunity, but I would still well, more deserving in the sense of like they've just worshipped anime for like years and stuff, and I just didn't have that perspective of like it being like my whole entire life since birth or something, but some people have. So, but I would totally have so many millions of ideas for that to like create like just equally good concepts, maybe better concepts than a lot of like what people see and stuff, like with help from the writers though, because I'm not like trained in writing, you know, but I think having like control over the direction and stuff would be super cool. But it's not just about that. It's like, I don't know, if that were like a real thing, like it would be cool to like have connections to like be like, oh, now you could use me in whatever cool stuff, you know. Yeah, so I would try to like expand in that direction at some point, but I would have other stuff going on like simultaneously, because I would never want it to look like my music brand is like put on hold or on pause or like dying out or something while I'm working on another project. I'd have to have albums coming out and then that in the works, and then as soon as the albums are like on a brief pause, then that would be coming out, you know what I mean? And then in between, okay, like I have all my albums, basically the production of the albums going from just being demos, not every single song, but like every album, it would be like, okay, we show like working on like these few songs and like how we're doing that, like showing the production of it, showing like, you know. Honestly, the show, I only was thinking it would be like maybe like 6 episodes, 8 episodes, 12 episodes, something like that, of like for like one season, because I don't think I was gonna want to do like multiple seasons of it. But yeah, that was sort of only because I feel like then you can only show like the super interesting moments, and each one can have like a script, you know. Maybe each episode would be like 30 minutes or something, but it would only be like 6 to 12 episodes for a season. But it would be everything from like, okay, all these songs are demos, then getting discovered, fake version, there's no real version, you know, and record deal like in the same episode, you know, and then talking about like marketing, finding managers, producers. Then after that we would go into like the different songs, I guess, not like go into the, you know what I mean. It would be like, you see like a little bit of that. You see a little bit of like, oh, we're producing like the songs, like that looks cool, you know. And then, yeah. Oh, and then rehearsing, talking about different types of performances, different marketing angles, different types of costumes, different like new album covers for like the albums that already exist. Yeah. Just all of that. Whatever else there is, you know? The legal side of it, just all of it. But like in it, brought to you in an interesting way. You know? You're like, what? Yeah, it would just kind of be like as annoying as possible, I guess, but also as conceited as possible, so that if people, because you need people to be able to say something and talk about it. It's not really about people, when people like kind of need that like boost and like, oh, this is the first time people talked about you, they kind of don't, it's like you can't afford to not have people talk about it, so you're just gonna do whatever makes them talk about it, you know? That's kind of how it is, I think. But now that I don't get to use that idea, I get to go back to the drawing board and come up with something way better. But that's one structure of how somebody could get out there if they already like had like a connection to do that. Where I'm at is more about the in-between of like not having that. So yeah, it's more like, well, how do I go from my level to like that level or above it? Because I know what to do from like there on, I feel like, you know? or I did. But now it would be different because of the different factors, you know? Yeah. I did think about, like, you know how some people, I think about, like, oh, like, what are other ways it could have, like, gone if I had already been, like, known from something, because, like, I already know, like, oh, what would I have done if I started on a TV show, like some people start on a TV show, you know what I mean, who are, like, super famous and stuff. I think I would have been not overlapping anybody's, like, personal brand or, like, where they're at, because you go your own direction, but I would have been probably trying to go more of, like, I would have just been, like, a more annoying version of, like, Olivia Rodrigo or something. Like, not that she's, like, super annoying, but she really does play into, like, homeschooled high school, like, jealousy, not grown up yet, even though you're an adult situation, is, like, how hers feels, which a lot of pop stars are in that space, but hers is kind of, like, uniquely about that. Yeah, I would have probably just been, like, more annoying, but, like, still been in, like, that kind of space. But if I were, there would be kind of problems with it. Like, I would have wanted to, I know people do, like, a long release cycle for albums, you know? People do, like, a long release cycle for albums where they'll maybe wait, like, 3 or 4 years before putting out a new album and stuff, and that really wouldn't have been me. It would really, you know, because I put out, why was I putting out, like, 40 albums in, like, a year, or, like, trying to, and, like, you know what I mean? Why did I put out over 1,000 songs in a year? Like, not because I would have put out a 12-song album or a 17-song album once every 4 years, or once every 3 years, or once every 5 years. But there's, like, if people come from, like, a show, if you think, like, Olivia Rodrigo, Selena Gomez, who else? Ariana Grande, Britney Spears, and Christina Aguilera. Those ones, I don't know who else, but, like, a lot of people came from, who are, like, very famous, you know, came from, I guess, like, Dove Cameron, but people don't talk about her that much. Yeah, but, like, I do know who that is, you know, but those ones came from, like, you know, TV shows and stuff, like, just very, like, scripted, just normal TV shows. Yeah. But the problem is, there's, like, this weird culture there where they're sort of told, like, and, like, Miley Cyrus, obviously. I don't know why I forgot, but yeah, because I didn't really watch her, like, growing up. Like, I was never, like, allowed to watch Hannah Montana because, yeah, my parents thought it was, like, demonic that she, maybe not demonic, but, like, kind of demonic that she had, like, a blonde wig sometimes, and sometimes she didn't. Like, they were like, we don't want you to think that sometimes you can have a blonde wig and sometimes you can't, as, like, a 5-year-old, you know. Like, I don't know. They thought that was weird. So they thought her thing was all about wanting to, like, be somebody else or something. I don't know. So I was not allowed to watch that one, but I do get the premise. It just makes it funny. But yeah, that one was too demonic. The other ones were fine. So Ariana Grande, like, licking somebody's feet, not that bad, but, like, no offense to her, but, like, what was her Nickelodeon sort of weird. But yeah, that was fine, but, like, why is Miley Cyrus, like, taking off a blonde wig? Like, that's too far. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, I would have kind of, there's, like, this, like, weird structure with it where it's, like, they almost are made to feel, like, undeserving of their success, because what if it just came from the show? But, oh, what if the show isn't that important? But, like, what if it's too important? So now you have to, like, pay your, like, respect to the people who like came before you. That's what the whole structure is. So it's like, oh, you wouldn't want to disrespect whoever like used this model before you and didn't get to put out that many albums. Like, you're personally responsible for the fact that maybe they didn't get to do more than one album every 4 years. Like, maybe they didn't get to, and maybe they would have loved to, but you're just privileged if you want to do more than one, like, every 4 years or something, you know? So, and then they're told like, oh, well, you're not gonna be a real celebrity, you're just gonna be an influencer. Oh no, as if that's like different. That was like 4 squirrels, but they all like ran into each other. Like, it sounded like a person was right there, but there wasn't. Anyway. So, yeah. I just don't think I would have ever been... I would have felt like it's a waste of the resources that I had if I had ideas for more albums and didn't put them out. So I would have just been the one who ruins the timeline and like kind of tries to like fight for... It's just wind, but it felt like a person again. Anyway, I would have kind of been the one who like ruins the timeline of that and tries to fight for like, well, if I have all these resources and ideas for it, like, why can't I put out more albums? So I would have maybe been way too soon trying to revolutionize like how many you can put out and not have like restrictions or limits on what's like socially acceptable for that or what the label will let happen, you know? Like, I would have tried to like kind of fight for that, but again, it would have been like too public to not be weird, and like maybe too far into the future timeline of like deconstructing some things about like what's culturally normal in the industry and stuff. Yeah. So then instead, because I have no connections and also barely subscribers on my channel and stuff, like, you know, and they get like 3 views on a video. So if I put out like 40 or 50 albums before anybody finds out, or if I put out like 100 by then, that would be like nothing to me. I'm like, oh yeah, like I just do this all the time, every day. That's not hard. I know how to do that, like, you know. Some of my albums have like 90 songs, 60 songs, 80 songs. And I'm still looking at them like, do I think I could put like 10 more songs on there? But then I have other ones that have like 3 songs. I'm like, I could just like finish that one. Like, it's kind of weird. So, yeah. I'm just feeling kind of mad scientist with it. But like, you know, it's not like anybody knows I exist, so I could do whatever I want. And then if it someday works out, I wouldn't even be intentionally revolutionizing anything. I just would have been willing to intentionally do it, but now I'll be accidentally doing it due to being forced to, but like, or kind of feeling forced to, but like, I was gonna be willing to intentionally do it anyways, but like, oh well. So, I don't know. I think about like other ways. That I could be going. I don't know. Here's what I think might happen. Okay. Also, I don't know how much storage my phone has. This is a 24-minute video. Lately, my phone has been weird about that, and it will like just end stuff if I run out of like room, whatever. Okay, things that I might do. And then beyond this, I don't know, because I have so many projects I'm currently working on. So, first, finish current albums that I'm working on. 2, this next one, there's not really a good way for it to go, because I would try to afford putting ads on my videos / start a GoFundMe for it. Is that really gonna work? I don't know. But is it not gonna just seem like I'm awkwardly like asking for money? I don't know. But I wasn't gonna afford to do it on my own. Even if I save up for like my whole life at whatever job I could get now, like I wouldn't really be able to afford like putting ads on my content to the point where it would really get like views that much, you know, like even if I did for like one video, like it wouldn't really gain traction and necessarily go anywhere. So yeah, but I probably will try to put out a sponsored post if I can save up for it, and have that be like where I talk about the GoFundMe and stuff, so that I can then hopefully sponsor other videos and have the whole thing like, you know, have people. I've seen people use GoFundMe for stuff like that before. I don't know. At this point, I'm in like a trying anything phase, and if I can't do it on my own, like might as well try to do it that way. So yeah, I'm open-minded to it, because that's something that a lot of people like would have to. I know they use it for other stuff, and I'm obviously not trying to take away from that. Like, I'm not trying to take away from like, you know, other things, but if there are people that want to donate then to my cause, then that's a perfectly normal thing to do and to have access to. And so I wouldn't want to have access to resources that I don't try to use, because it's not like I would have other methods of getting there if I don't put, you know, if I don't open the door to let anything happen, then I'm the one who's getting in my own way. But people choose their own, like, what causes they're interested in and stuff, and if that's a cause that they would want to help with, then I have to at least like open a door and be willing to let that happen, because what I'm trying to create would bring joy to a lot of people, and it's not weird to just do what you have access to and try to like just open a door to like let people help. I don't think that's weird, but it feels weird. Which again is not bad either, because something just feeling weird doesn't mean it's actually weird. It's just how it is. But like I said, like a lot of these artists, because they just started on a TV show, they had like saved up their whole lives to have money to like put towards it, or wherever they come from, their family just advertised for them. And so for that reason, it seems like they get there overnight, but that's because they put hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not like tens of millions of dollars into advertising already. And so yeah, I don't have that, so we're trying anything to get there, because that's what we do. That's what the universe says. Here's the plan. Here's what you do have access to and what you don't have access to. Here's where you're going. That's what it is. That's how you find out the plan. Where do you want to go? What do you not have access to? And then what do you have access to overcome that, if you can. We doing it anyways, even if it's weird, because that's not the part that matters. Let's see, what else would I do? It's kind of hard to decide what else I would do. Trying to be really lucky, hopefully, I guess. Because even if I had ads on my content, does that mean that a label would be like trying to find me, or that they would care? Even if I had any number of like subscribers and views, there's no reason to think they would really care, right? Like, that's actually like kind of a thing too. They have to still think you're like weirdly talented or a good investment long term. And like, how do you look like that? I don't know. I don't don't know. There's a few options. I'm just gonna guess. After this point, kind of guessing what would be good. I would probably move somewhere to like a bigger city. Question mark. There's like people around, but yeah, that's kind of it. Anyway, love you guys, bye.